Welcome to Talmud Brilliant, where we talk about how our minds and the Talmud work. This short video is titled, Being Reasonable Does Not Necessarily Mean You Are Right. Are you tired of not understanding how the Talmud's thinking works, or being lost in their process? I know how that felt, even after years of learning Talmud. These short videos will give you an understanding of the behind the scenes of the Talmud, the underlying principles that usually are not spoken about, but that every Talmud discussion follows. Today's idea, the interplay, the movement between having a reasonable position on the one hand, and on the other hand, deciding if that same position is right and wrong. My name is Rabbi Jeremy Fenster, and I am the founder of the Ramchal Talmud Academy and creator of Talmud Brilliant. Someone suggested to me, when they heard the name of my project, Talmud Brilliant, that the name should be Talmud Brilliance, because the Talmud has brilliance. And they said, that's what you want to teach, the Talmud's brilliance. So I thought about that. I replied that the Talmud has brilliance, that's for sure. But my goal is not to show off the Talmud's brilliance per se, but to train our thinking so we can be better thinkers, smarter and sharper. We'll do it by emulating the thinking process of the Talmud. And of course, we will become better Talmud learners in the process. My focus, the focus of these videos, is us, to strengthen our minds, to develop ourselves. We want to become Talmud brilliant. There are three possibilities when talking about the interplay between being reasonable and being right or wrong. I want to use the image of a traffic light. Let's start in the middle. When you have the yellow, which of course means caution, we have an idea, a position that is reasonable but is not certain. Caution is called for. The green, forward. That's where an idea is reasonable and right. Forward with that idea. And lastly, of course, there's the red light. That's where an idea is reasonable, but the idea is wrong. You got to dump it. Being reasonable just gets you into the game. If you want to sit down at the table, you have to have the reasonable chips. It doesn't mean your idea is correct, or right, or true, though it just means that it's a valid possibility, that your idea is a logical possibility. We may even say about it that it makes sense, but only in the possibility context. Most issues have more than one logical possibility. They have more than one reasonable explanation or solution or option. Two people disagreeing, both usually have a reasonable idea or possibility of what should be done. Deciding if a reasonable idea moves from the yellow, where it's reasonable, not certain, to the green, where we're going to say, that's reasonable and is right, or from the yellow to the red, where it's reasonable and it's wrong, we got to drop it. That's the next step in the process. But we only take that next step if the idea itself is reasonable to start with. In future videos, we'll talk about decision making, the next step in the process, how an idea moves to green or to red, or stays in the yellow, and the reasons why that drive those decisions. Let's finish with this. Every idea in the Talmud, every possibility the Talmud entertains, is reasonable. In the end, the Talmud may decide the idea is right or wrong. That's a separate issue. But the idea itself is reasonable and will stay reasonable even if the Talmud decides that it's wrong and rejects it. It will never lose the status of being reasonable. In the Talmud language, the reasonable part of an idea or a statement, that's called svara. So, being reasonable does not necessarily mean you are right. Thanks for watching today. Leave a comment or questions below. Check out our website, Talmud Brilliant, which is the hub for this mind and Talmud training. Remember, thinking has structure. Thank you.